Howdy all and welcome back to another episode of Chopping It Up with Charms. We're here today to talk about Chelsea again, talk about the Premier League again, talk about football again. But this week specifically, I just want to go back into Chelsea, go back to my roots. You know, go back to the team that I love, the reason I'm here in the first place. So many people I want to talk about this week. The goalkeeper situation I want to run back over one more time because I think Robert Sanchez had a good game against Brentford. But I think Jorgensen had a good game against Shamrock Rovers as well. To be honest, I think the opportunities that Shamrock gave, bar one, the Buemo incident, I think you could argue the hardest shots were taken in that Shamrock game. I also want to talk about Cucurella and just how important he's became into the team over the last year. And you know, the situation we're in with him and Enzo Maresca and how they've just formed a duo together. And Cucu clearly understands his instructions. And you know, week in, week out, I love watching my fullbacks bomb down that wing. And then up top, Nico. He's here. He's him. You know what I mean? The mentality, it's fixed. What was stopping him last year? It's over. We've seen it. And then at the end, I'll talk about Mark Gue and his hat-trick and you know, his future at the club and whatnot. But let's start with the goalkeeper, as I mentioned. So, Robert Sanchez had a pretty good game against Brentford. He didn't have too many opportunities at him, but he did have a big chance at the end, which he did save, tip over the bar from Brian Mbeumo, who ended up one-on-one with him on a bit of like a half-volley chance, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, he tips it over the bar. It's a great save, bit of a last-ditch effort. And he's done great to get there. The thing is, though, it's the goal we concede, you know. I look at that and I just think, world class? Nah. World class gets there, you know. Oh, I'm not saying Jorgensen is, but Jorgensen had a stop. Geezer was six to 8 yards away from him, flying bonk, little diver. Also, the goal that he conceded, bouncing between the box, you know, flying. Obviously, I'm not trying to make a comparison between the level of opposition because it's obviously a very big different, you know, gulf in quality between Brentford and Shamrock Rovers. There's no question about it. But I just find that I find myself so questioning everything Robert Sanchez does at every given time, particularly when the ball's at his feet. I don't trust him to be playing short passes. I barely trust him in one-on-one situations. From long range, I don't mind him. I think that's probably the one aspect of he's better than Jorgensen is from range. He seems to really get his eye on the ball, track it, and stop the damage. You know what I mean? But I just feel like the kid who's got a 5-year age advantage is going to be able to fix those holes in his game and overall be a better goalkeeper going forward. So I'm just not sold on Sanchez yet. Still aren't. Probably never will be. And I just want to see Jorgensen. But above all else, I want to see Petrovic. Ever since he's been integrated into that Strasbourg side, it's just clean sheet on clean sheet on clean sheet on big save on big chance stopped. And, you know, between him and Andre Santos, it's like beautiful DM and goalkeeper synergy there. Like, it's fantastic. So I want them both back, and I think that they're going to be two players who do have a massive instrumental role to play in our campaign in next season. You know, Esteval, Andre Santos, and Georgi Petrovic all coming back into the fold. It's a big deal. It genuinely is. Now transitioning on from that, right back Cucurella. The performances that Mark Cucu has been putting on since the Euros, since before the Euros, if we're being totally honest, they've been outstanding. He's been an absolute world-class wing-back, sorry. Absolutely world-class. Does everything he's supposed to do. The goal he scores. When I see a fullback scores, you know, I was at work when the game was on. I saw Cucurella scored. Immediately went to, all right, he's either bombed down the wing and just smashed it from 20 yards, you know, or had scored a great solo effort, or he's coming off a corner, found the last man, he's trucked round the back and he's popped a header in. None of those options. He's following the attacking run on the other flank and he's seeing that ball coming in, and that's what I want from my fullback. I want my fullback to be attacking and be dangerous and be deadly. I don't care about on paper you're a defensive player, because on the pitch you're a footballer and you play for Chelsea and you want a bag. Those balls come in. I want to see my fullbacks jumping up and getting aerial with it, and that's exactly it. He's getting stuck in with people in the opponent box. He's not worried about being too far forward. He's winning those headers and he's putting them away. And this is the Cucurella that I wanted to see, attacking, dangerous, single-minded. And you know, I think of the other left-backs that we've had over the years. Marcus Alonso, similar profile, very aggressive, wants to go at them, wants to shoot from range, you know, take those free kicks. I like that in our fullbacks. This is what I want to see. I want to see someone who wants to play at the club and wants to score goals, wants to make a difference. And Cucurella, you know, even with the whole shoe situation, you know, 2 slips in the new boot, put them in the bin. You know what I mean? I'm not even going to take a risk. I'm not even going to blame myself. It has to be the boots. It has to be the boots. Whether, like, it can't be me. And, you know, he proved that it was. He changed the boots. Stellar performance the rest of the game. Incredible stuff. Like, I think Cucurella's really coming into his own. And he's a player that I'm loving to have at my football team. And you know, above anything else, he'll what seems to be die and bleed for this club. Speaking about players who die and bleed for this club, a man that I will die and bleed for in a heartbeat, Nicholas Jackson, Didier Drogba, same difference. One of them, 20 goals in the first 50 games. One of them, 23 goals in their first 50 games. Big games, regardless, everywhere they go. One of them, an uptick in form, one of them consistent. Well, the uptick in form is the one that goes alongside the 23 goals in the 50 games, which is Nico. Better record than Didier had at this point in his Chelsea tenure. Probably started better, Didier Drogba did, than Nicholas Jackson. He started a little bit torrid. You know, he didn't have an amazing first season. I know neither did Drogba, but I think on paper, I think Drogba scored more goals at the end of his first season at Chelsea. Nicholas Jackson had a bit of a stinker. What I like about Nico, that game against Brentford says it all. I've got to stop filming these so early, man. I keep yawning in these videos. What I love about Nico, it's the fact that he can miss big chances. Yeah, he can have that opportunity one-on-one with the goalkeeper and sky it. He can put that one wide. He can get stopped by a defender who is maybe a bit too far behind him for his own likelihood. And so for his own liking, he slowed down a bit too much before the finish. Doesn't matter. He'll stay switched on. He'll look for the ball. He'll stay hungry. He'll be determined. He'll try and chase down defenders. And eventually, when he gets that one in, when that one pass is onside, that last year would have been offside, when he's following that run, he's one-on-one, I trust him over anyone in the Premier League. Erling Haaland, any of these ballers that's supposed to be ice cold in their veins. I'm telling you, Kai Havertz, all of these, none of them have got what Nicholas Jackson has got, that composure. Maybe the argument is Mo Salah, who's not an out-and-out striker, because I'll tell you this much, Nico Jackson's finishing ability beats Darwin Núñez, Luis Diaz, Jota, or any of these players. I'm dead serious as well. I think Nicholas Jackson, arguably, maybe bar Haaland, but right now, no, is the best striker is the best finishing striker in the Premier League. I would argue that. I don't see really a counterpoint to that. One-on-one, the opportunities he scores, they completely scrub the opportunities he misses. Because he does put a few wide, but once again, it's the same games that he's bagging good goals in. And they're goals where he's hungry, he's running in at centre-backs, he's taking the ball, he's putting it in the bottom right. And speaking of hunger and determination, probably star of the week for me this week is Mark Gue. I mean, he's a player that in Europe has been playing consistently, but the performances have been up and down. You know, he started off with a couple of stinkers. If not an own goal, it was a red. He had a game where the stats looked a lot worse than how he played, but he still didn't play amazing. But nonetheless, now he's bagging. I mean, it seems like this is the third week in a row that he's bagged, if not the fourth. And this week he scored a hat-trick to go with it. 2 of those goals, chasing down centre-backs, chasing down goalkeepers, making them make mistakes, capitalising off mistakes that they've made, taking the ball round the goalkeeper and hitting it from a hard angle, you know, walking the ball into an open net. Even the header. Ball comes in from excellent cross, but it is from a very wide angle, like 30 yards. Just to get a header on that, you know, it's impressive. To angle it, it's impressive. And Mark Gue's been impressing me recently. I think that he's a player that has the opportunity to fight for a role at this club where a lot of people probably see that their time is up, regardless of doping and whatnot with Mykhailo Mudryk. I think that a lot of the players at the club right now, they can't really see their way in. I think even a player like Noni Madueke, who's made so much space in such a short period of time and made themselves really have a case to have a starting role in this club, they're going to find it difficult to nail it down. So it's impressive for an 18-year-old like Mark Gu to be making his case at this point in his career, and a lot of people would have thought, who even is this kid? And I know I'm saying that for hat-trick at Shamrock Rovers, but it's just the determination, the style of play. I see similarities in Nicholas Jackson. I just don't know how Enzo plans on wrapping that all round. Anyways, listen, that's it from me.